All right, welcome back, folks, to Legends from the Ladders. I had to feature him. It's going to be the return of the Grand Lad himself, Grubby, making an appearance on the channel. Because I noticed when I was looking for the leaderboards in the top 100, you know what he's done? He's only gone and slammed straight into the center of it. Top 100s from a former world champ in the days of Warcraft, StarCraft. He is a god. And let's see if he's going to be godly in this as we move into the game. If you haven't already, by the way, make sure that you subscribe to this channel if you want more of Grubby and other players, as there is plenty to be found. But for now, we've got some HRE on HRE mirror matchup here on Nagari. Nagari, a map that I don't frequently see HRE in. In fact, I would rate them in the bottom three for, like, scene on this map, right? Like, Delhi comes to mind a lot. We see a lot of Mongols. Rus has fallen off a bit. Abbasids are making an interesting amount of appearances here as well. China occasionally looks pretty cool on Nagari Center Lake, but never HRE, surprisingly enough. But now we get not one, but two HREs in this one match. One of them being Grubby in the red. Like I said, he's cracked into the top 100. And, well, I had to feature him. Why? Because he has the golden number, 69 on the leaderboard right now, 1,736 elo. Rising through the ranks quickly, grabbing huge chunks of elo. It looks like he's on a win streak. And currently, yeah, 7 win streak at this point, 580 games played, 53% win rate. He's on the rise. His opponent, Fly Go Go Go, has been left in the dust. This game was from several days ago, as I want to get a little bit of a mixer. And Fly Go Go, he's rising as well, in fairness to him. He's currently 1679 elo rating, 128 rank, but he's no streak, right? So he's not actually getting that huge burn where he's just rising at a quick pace. So 488 games played on him. Still really capable. I think if you're in top 300, you're actually pretty damn decent at the game, it has to be said. I mean, you know, that basically puts you in the top percentile, the top 0.1 percentile, I'm pretty sure. And if you can ever say that about a game, then yeah, you know, you might even be able to think about like a pro career. So, opening-wise, we are going to see both players moving out into the center lake at the same time. No aggression is going to come out straight away. Remember, the HRE don't have anything to do early on. They don't tend to go to military buildings. They can't build naval vessels for war in the Dark Age. It's just going to be a race to see who can hit Feudal first. Whoever hits Feudal first could have a potential edge with the galley spam. And the interesting part to me is that neither of these players have chosen to utilize the outer lakes, right, to try and pad their economy and have a secondary point. Something that the HRE can actually do incredibly well, because remember, their economy is incredibly efficient in the early phase of the game. It means that they're very quick to be able to support multiple docks producing units. So it might be that both of the players just intend to actually build double docks on the center, but that plan is going to be grinded to a halt by Grubby. Look at this move. Nothing similar on the other side either, so this is just pure punishment for Fly Go Go. He's going to try to build an outpost now, but with animation canceling, you're going to die. You're not going to get it done in time. Fly Go Go already just getting caught off guard in a wonky way, so he won't get his second dock out here, which is painful. Grubby, meanwhile, still has his villager available to build up whenever he needs it. Meanwhile, how are we looking on the food front? So Grubby completely neglecting, just wants everyone on wood at the moment. Wood and gold, so he's going to have huge surpluses prepped for military at the start of the Feudal Age. And there we go. Final strike will bring him to his knees. Plenty of sheep to actually return to base as well if he wants to. Doesn't care, though. So Fly Go Go... oh, sorry, no. Fly Go Go does have villages. They're stuck around the back. This is really cool. I like that players are doing this. We talked about this in another video. This is a really important thing to do that a lot of players neglect. So this is giving him more efficiency for his prelate. Imagine if he kept the villies at the front with the sheep. He'd have to run his prelate further, and that means you're missing vital seconds where you can buff 1 or 2 additional people, right, with the Holy Inspiration. This allows him to very easily min-max and just turn around and buff back and forth between the wood and the food lines. Because he doesn't need surplus gold. He's good on that front. In fact, looks like they're both going to be underway with the tech ups. Oh, no, Grubby. Grubby didn't at all. I looked at the numbers. I thought for a second he might have, but no. Instead, he drops a Rax. And he's building Spearmen at a very early phase. So he's looking to burn down the dock, but this is a misplay, I think. I don't believe you'll get through the dock before a galley comes out. It seems not very feasible, just because of the rate at which the HRE can get up into Tech 2. And it looks like he's going to get up quicker. He does invest more people into this. And if he sees that he's being attacked at the dock, he might even push more on top of it. Yeah, it's going to be a very slow process. It's a very gambly play from Grubby because he's sacrificing his own timing, and if he screws this up and his opponent gets one galley out, not only does it prevent your attack onto the dock of FlyGoGo, but it also means you're going to lose out control of Central Nagari, right? Because you won't be up at Feudal, so you can't produce galleys to defend yourself. Really dangerous play. I do like to see people playing for those kind of play-to-win plays, but this one, I don't know. This one feels a little bit poorly informed. I mean, it's nice to experiment. Oh, by the way, he's also doing what we're talking about, keeping his lines closer. Not as efficient as it could be. He could be across a little bit more here, so the product doesn't have to run as much, but this is fine overall. And it looks like FlyGoGo is about to be complete with his tech up. So then everything here is going to be getting juiced, right? Food, gold, and wood lines. And that should hold him off for quite a while. So with that tech up complete, galleys should be coming out. Dock, not looking good. Oh my god, wow, FlyGoGo was that worried. Look what he done. He ran out the villages to actually build this up. And it looks like Grubby isn't paying attention either. He didn't finish off that villager. He didn't stop burning the dock either. He's missed his window of opportunity. And it looks like they won't even immediately need galleys. They're just going to garrison inside the outpost and kill off the spearmen. But that actually helps Grubby a little. The fact that you haven't actually been able to push out the galley straight away, it's slightly delayed. The fact you had to invest in this outpost and you have 5 people out here instead of back at base does mean that Grubby should be able to get the tech up and then get galleys out at a reasonable time. He is going to be outnumbered, and that's why he does this, right? Grubby preps himself. He sits down a second dock, something that FlyGoGo can't do right now because, well, he expended 100 wood on the outpost, plus he needs to build the initial galleys. And what is the wood count on each side right now? So a few more people on the wood line for FlyGoGo. Really crazy aggressive location from Grubby here. So I think against most other civs, Grubby wouldn't attempt an Archon Chapel this greedy. Usually you want a very defensive Archon Chapel. Defensive being next to your TC so that anything that is buffing can be somewhat protected. This is a min-max type Archon Chapel. This is one way it's like, I want the value of the gold vein later. All my wood line is going to be juiced forever. And then also, after that all happens, I'm going to have giant clumps of farmland because nothing is going to obstruct me around the Archon Chapel. I'll be able to maximize the value there if I get pushed off Nagari, Central Lake, for farmland food harvesting. So Galley moves in. This is what we're talking about, the fishing boats. He needs to garrison them as best he can. He's still going to get a few sunk. Outpost has to be backed up further. And Galley is currently being built. Grubby can't afford the second just yet, though. Looks like he's actually got a pop cap issue maybe as well. And I think there's a second one coming out, right? No, wow. FlyGoGo, that's very greedy. To stop at 1. I mean, he gets some damage in, right? I guess his logic is he just wants to control the Central Lake to the midsection. Doing some damage to your opponent's like fishing boats and then keeping your galley alive and protecting your own fishing boats is his primary concern. And you can see how frustrating it is to deal with these galleys as well. 5 tower range. It's very hard to actually get an outpost close without you being in sniping range. But there we go. First defense is coming out from Grubby. And now you can get back to fishing. Should force his opponent back. Doesn't want to fight a one-on-one galley on home territory, remember. The repair rate will just come in favor of Grubby. Meanwhile, these spearmen actually wrapped in, forcing early man-at-arms out of FlyGoGo. Where did he put... Oh, right, I'm blind. I was looking at a robot right here. Yeah, I was about to say, where did he put the racks? So, yeah, he's putting the racks down pretty defensively. It's going to build the man-at-arms at a very early phase. I think if you're Grubby, you're kind of chill now. You focus mainly on the Central Lake, and you look for a castle age timing. Because there's no point playing man-at-arms into man-at-arms at this phase. It's just a battle you always lose, right? Because it takes so long to reinforce. They move very slow across the map. And instead, look at this. FlyGoGo only has to force out a few troops to defend himself, already underway with the tech up. And this is the big difference maker, right? The fact that Grubby delayed his Archon Chapel so much meant that he didn't have his entire economy being boosted, right? While FlyGoGo kept this very tight, compact formation that ensured that everything in his base was being boosted in terms of gathering rates and capacity on these villages, right? Being up at 14, as well as gathering 40% quicker. It meant that he was able to achieve a much better Regnitz Cathedral timing. And the icing on top, the cherry on top of the cake, is simply the damage to the fishing fleet. Damage that now Grubby is returning the favor of. Because remember, to get that timing, he had to actually sacrifice building more galleys. And it's something Grubby's exploiting because there's only one dock here. There's nowhere for this fishing fleet to hide. Looks like Grubby's going to min-max back and 1 off here. This galley. Oh, I don't think you can repair it quick enough. It should still die. It's going to be tight, though. No, they get just in place. And he starts to snipe out the fishing boats. But the damage is kind of done, but it's not enough in my eyes. Like, Grubby, like, nice hit in, gets a decent amount of the fishing boats, forces pressure, slows down the food economy, but your opponent's already teching up. Grubby doesn't know this, though. Grubby didn't have a scout in the base. He just assumes that maybe he stunted the growth. And because he didn't, you now have this awkward situation where you only have really spearmen at the moment or man-at-arms, and your opponent can have man-at-arms too. And why this matters is because you're going to see FlyGogo move out for those relics now, and he's going to be able to guard them because he built into Iraqs early. Galley, clumping, Grubby. I mean, this play for the central lake could end up costing you the game. I know I talk about how important Nagari is, right? Like, in the central lake, how important it is to keep control of it. It's such a ridiculous boost to your food supplies that we've seen day and night differences when someone gets forced off the lake and someone else is on it. But my issue in this circumstance is that you're playing HRE and HRE. And the relics still take priority. If your opponent gets his hands on those, with the surplus food he's already building, he could just look to boost straight into Imperial Age, and then he could actually just bolster his food economy on land, courtesy of just churning out 1,000,001 villages with this Palace of Swabia that basically counts as 4 TCs with a 75% discount on the food cost. Grubby, with this amount of galleys, will be able to force his opponent off. Boom ship trying to be built quick enough. Might get it out, but it's against galleys. I mean, if you're quick as Grubby, you'll just be able to snipe it. Of course, he has to be looking, because remember, he doesn't know when the boom ship does come out. And it looks like one will at least be able to push out just in time, but the dock is definitely going to be sunk regardless. Nice snipe out. Lister upgrade. Boom ship out. Nice hit. Sinks most of the fleet. Gets 3 out of the 4, but damage still done. Dock is going to be lost, and the push in is coming. Grubby, he's chasing in. Can he actually reach this? The man-at-arms, yeah, they can actually reach, and you can't stop for a wall loss. Too late. You're going to lose him. Nice play, Grubby. Recovers on the land, pressures quick enough, and ensures that this relic will not be banked. So far, only one being netted for FlyGogo. And I think he has a second on the way back, right? He must do. I'm looking for one here, one at the back, one there. I like this wall in as well. Grubby understands how far behind he is. He can't risk giving over more relics. He needs to secure 3. So he understands that FlyGogo is going to get 2. There's nothing he can do about that. But now he can guard on this one close to his opponent's base. And he also has the safe one back towards his own. And Grubby is finally underway with the Relic Cathedral. He did slow himself down, mind you, remember, because he did go for this quadruple racks drop, right? Just trying to churn out enough units to make sure that even if his opponent has quality, he will amass past him with quantity. And now Knights are coming out. Knights that will be quite frustrating in this situation. Remember, they do a lot more damage. Although you're tanky as a man-at-arms, it's just so cost-efficient for FlyGogo now that he's got 2 relics banked. It's why Grubby, this is a very gambly play, the way he's played this, being behind time and time again. It looks like he's going to get away with it to a certain extent due to the walling. And you can see that he's stacked with the man-at-arms to make sure the prelate can't get in. This one is going to be especially very awkward to try and return. Here you go. Engagement comes in. More Knights coming out. I don't think Grubby can hold this. He actually had them on stand ground. He didn't want to move away. So they're not really fighting. Not well, anyway. So it looks like he's going to surrender over the 3rd relic, but not of his own choice. The man-at-arms do force him away in conjunction with the Knights. And FlyGogo will be able to net the maximum yield out of his Regnitz Cathedral. Meanwhile, the villager... Oh my god. Labaiti infantry almost struck again there. So we'll be able to wall this in. That's at least the good news, is Grubby, he will get 2 of these. Because remember that FlyGogo can still snatch the rest away, although he's not going to get the Regnitz Cathedral buffer. Always remember in an HRE matchup, whenever you take a relic away from your opponent, it might just be plus 100 for you, but it's actually a plus 400 gold difference in the economies, right? Because your opponent is missing out on 300 gold in that situation. And Grubby does spot out FlyGogo trying to build into the back lake because he needs food. He could have killed him, actually. If he animation cancelled, I think he would have got rid of the villager before the reinforcements arrived. But looks like the dock is successfully going to be built. Nothing you can do to stop that. Meanwhile, the Knights raid in. And you still don't have a great answer. Gates going down to try and allow you in. The problem is, how do you get it out, right? Like, you've got it in, but just like those fancy Saudi Arabian apartments where someone has a nice McLaren sitting in their living room. It's cool it's in there, but how the hell are you ever getting that outside again? Now the raid in, Grubby coming under fire. They were both playing the stone, but FlyGogo, look at this. Look at the number. 2,000 stone already gathered. He's planning to just keep his opponent in. Literally keep him in. right? Like, it's quite easy to do on Nagari with these natural choke points that you can hold very easily with about 3 keeps. And it will give you a kind of a stationing point, right? A staging area to mount raids into your opponent's base off the back of a forward base. And these knights, you can see how the spearmen are suffering, right? There's no blacksmith still. They finally go down, but he hasn't researched marching drills. So actually gap closing on these knights feels like it takes a century. And they can just cycle through. They can snipe out villagers on the way out easily. In fact, you might even see them do that. Flygogo not really microing it correctly, though. And he's just going to lose a few more of his knights by the looks of it. Flygogo, he needs to be a little bit concerned. Grubby's still outscale him on the eco, right? Because he has that fishing fleet. That's why he wanted that back leg so badly, because he understands the power of this, right? Especially when you start thinking about drift nets, just increasing that speed and capacity. It's the deep water fish that's so scary. And you definitely get a lot of value out of drift nets because of that, right? Just actually decreasing the amount of time where you're not gathering because you basically get an extra 50% carry capacity is a huge booster to your food economy on the water. So I believe one relic has been banked. Second one still can't be reached, but with Spearman here now, he should finally be able to go for it. I'm kind of surprised that Grubby kept pushing man-at-arms as long as he did. I'm glad he made the switch. If these were still man-at-arms, the knights would just be laughing at you. But you see how trivial knights are now, after all the buffs that we've seen towards spearmen and basically counters the cavalry, how hard it is to actually play pure knights into this comp. And all that time bought, Grubby, oh my, wow. This is an impressive turnaround. Flygogo, he invested so much in the knights, and he didn't have the food economy right. He had to switch over on land, as we're seeing. And he's getting a lot of value at this Archon Chapel, but now he's behind. Grubby is already halfway through the tech up. Palace of Swabia being built. Any damage to his eco count on land is about to disappear. This is impressive. Considering the way this is playing out, like we said, step after step, just being behind his opponent, also losing out on the majority of the relics. To be bouncing back like this and hitting a fantastic Imp Age timing, considering the way this opened for Castle and Feudal for you, this is starting to turn around pretty hard for Grubby. Flygogo, you need a transition, but what's it going to be? I just don't think you can keep pushing knights now. If you push only knights, you're going to lose this game. He has got the forward base now. We said he had a lot of this stone. He started to use it. So drops the keep. Where's the second keep, though? Did he trade? Yeah, I think he maybe traded here. Notice the stone values. He's only placed 1 keep. He had over 2,000. So it looks like he's been trying to bolster his economy. That's how much he was struggling. And after doing that, after having over 2,000 surplus stone and trading a lot, he still doesn't have what he needs for Imperial Age. And he's not going to be able to get it that easily, right? Because Grubby's going to prep for pressure. And if he's moving across now, you have this hard decision. Do I go for a tech up right now? Or do I build an army to defend myself? Because if he is running towards me with an army, and I tech up and complete that tech up as he's halfway across the map, even a slower force like Man-at-Arms are going to run me through because I just won't have the troops to defend myself. This is the danger, guys. This is the thing. Everyone thinks that Imperial Age rushing is just safe, right? Feels good. Oh, I'm going to just do it. No. Unless you have superior vision and you know what your opponent is doing, there's a huge risk associated with it. And it's exactly why Flygogo has a very hard choice ahead of him. But he's making it anyway. Palace of Swabia is being constructed. And Grubby's already moving in. The man-at-arms, I don't think this was enough. Grubby maybe jumped the gun. He needed more troops than this. A few knights trying to ride in. No entrance anymore, though. Grubby has fully walled it in. He will have to back off the man-at-arms. It's going to be a failed attempt to get in. And next time it's going to be harder because the boiling oil is now being researched by Flygogo. But this Palace of Swabia is a fantastic placement from him. Compared to Grubby's was very defensive, centralized towards his base. Flygogo has given himself a point with which to tap the central resources quickly. It's actually really nice. There's so much wood here to gain as well. The cool thing about this is, well, is you have to think, when you put the TCs next to each other, it's very inefficient because when you move your villagers to new locations to extract resources, they waste time walking, right? When they're not actually gathering, they're just wasted pop cap for you. So in this situation, by having a different location for a TC, he can now spread out. He has his primary TC where he can send people to the east, where there's loads of gold veins, stones over here, and there's loads of wood up here. And he can expand into his opponent's territory as well, much quicker because of this Palace of Swabia's location. One other detail I'm looking for, by the way, because I don't think they've done it. Yes, they did. Okay. Just checking. No, wait, he didn't. Yeah, I was about to say that didn't look like he did. So he didn't actually... That's a big mistake. Not taking Wheelbarrow. HRE gets so much value out of this because of how quickly you scale your economy, right? And because of how quickly you pick stuff dry with the Holy Inspiration. And that's why Grubby he switched on here. He actually grabbed Wheelbarrow. You guys should be doing this halfway through Feudal Max. It's such a fantastic tech, and it's not really that pricey for what it does. Especially with the HRE, because for those that are unaware, it basically it does the calculations for capacity increases one after the other. What do I mean by that? I mean that it's not saying 40%, 40% on top of 10, which would put you at 18 capacity, right? It's doing the 40% to put you up to 14 with the wheelbarrows, and then Holy Inspiration is buffing you that extra 40%, which is putting you up to 20, 21. And then, of course, later on, with a temple, you can increase that Holy Inspiration by another 10%. Fly Go-Go. Still trying to be annoying. Grubby doesn't really care anymore, though. Knows the difference, right? And it's so easy to replace any village's loss. This is the problem of HRE. If you let them boom up to Imperial Age, damaging their economy doesn't really achieve anything. You need true victory conditions. Raiding doesn't work against this Civ at this stage in the game. If you want to find value, you really have to have a proper siege army, right? If you're killing villages as a byproduct of running through someone's base and burning it to the ground, great. But if you're just running a few knights through, stabbing a villager here or there, that might work before Castle Age, especially against HRE. But at this stage in the game, it just achieves nothing. And the rack spam does continue for Fly Go-Go. So I guess I should follow up on that thought, right? Like, if it doesn't work to raid villages, what do you do as the HRE? Well, one of the big upsides and downsides of the HRE compared to a lot of other civs is while they do manage to gather resources at a quicker rate, they don't generate additional resources from those supplies, right? It's not like the step readout of the Mongols where you get an extra 50% gold out of nowhere. It's not like the Delhi and the Abbasids where you basically drop a mill on a berry bush and you double its contents, right? The thing about the HRE, the limiting factor that can actually backfire for them, is their economy is so efficient and fast that it tends to drain safe resources quickly. And it doesn't necessarily get bang for buck from like individual areas. It gets bang for buck across spread. And that means that you have to continuously move further and further out. So if you want to beat an HRE player, especially in the HRE matchup, more so than almost any other matchup, it actually comes down to territorial control, which is why it's important that Grubby moves out from his initial holding soon. Because as we've seen, for quite a while, Fly Go-Go has had access to 2/3 of the map. The only good news for Grubby at this point is that Fly Go-Go hasn't exploited the south. And I think this is a big mistake by Fly Go-Go. He expanded into the center. We said it was going to be great for the woodlands. But what's happening back in base? Like, these people shouldn't be on wood. They should probably be on gold. He's got a few going on now, but gold, stone, like all these resources here that are waiting to be tapped into. And there's no raiding going on, right? All the attention from Grubby is going to the north, which you could see as a mistake from him. I don't know if he assumes that Fly Go-Go is defended here, but Fly Go-Go doesn't have anything. He has one keep, and that's literally it. He has no military force present here. He has stables, but his racks are all on the front to the north. And I think that's the reason Grubby doesn't want to go south, is because remember, the flow Nagari, if you commit hard to one side and you're wrong, you're kind of done, unless you can outpace your opponent in taking out their base. Because trying to run around the map to try and respond is losing the game. It's same as in 3v3s, right? Where if you see your opponent being attacked on the north and you're already pressing the south, moving from the south to defend the north isn't the play. You just have to make sure your attack is quicker and ends one of the opponent's players first. Go Ziggatite to that random villager. I think that's what he was saying. With his keeps, the stalemate is starting to set in. And we do see Grubby now taking advantage of that open ground we were talking about. He'll look for cheap raids. I said this isn't very effective, right? But, like, it's not very costly when you're doing it with man-at-arms as well compared to those knights. It's also gaining vision. And that was the thing that Fly Go-Go at least got from it when he done it with a raid through. He was getting vision as well. But mainly for Grubby, like, if he gets a little bit of value out of sniping some villages here, great. It's also especially effective here because although I said your economy is cheap and easy to replace, keep in mind that you split off your Palace of Swabia quite far off. That's your main village generator, right? That's 4 TCs in 1. This TC is still slow. So if you ever lose a big chunk of your economy here, you're going to actually have to replace it with new farmlands here, which you have no space for, or you're going to have to run all these villages back to base, which is a long slog. Bombards. About to start fighting. Oh, they target the Mangonel instead, though. He's got villagers nearby, so it's fine. And that's what's going to make this a bit of a wonky warfare, right? Someone needs to get a third bombard, then you can insta-snipe down. Man-at-arms numbers are fairly similar. Actually, a distinct advantage for Flygogo now. Langstack coming out, and hand cannoneers. Hand cannoneers that don't exist yet for Grubby. So Grubby could get rinsed very easily if he's not careful. And then Flygogo also has this big force. Like, militarily, Grubby is kind of being outmassed. Yeah. 10-pointer advantage. Flygogo's economy is not very efficient right now, though. He's a decent margin behind that of Grubby. And this outpost crawl. Just trying to keep the vision more than anything. Give yourself soft resets, but more importantly, give yourself the vision so you can siege. Grubby needs to be careful. Has got mangonels. Shot coming in. Not that good, though. A lot of health, a lot of resistance on these man-at-arms. It's not easy to actually breach them with just 1 or 2 mangonels. You need a lot. And now the bombards, they sneak in. They get in range here. They're going to be burnt a little bit, but they'll be defended. And that keeps going to be forfeited. Grubby is surrendering a lot here. He just doesn't have the troops. This is the problem. Even building a TC here now. And a keep behind it. Everything to buy time. He needs more troops. He needs a pivot right now. You're just matching what your opponent is doing, and he's already ahead. That's not how you win games. You can hard invest into mangonels, or you could consider like crossbowmen, or even going into hand cannoneers. Crossbowmen is a pretty cool idea, though. Bombards moving in. Number advantage for Grubby here. He's going to get rid of the siege weapons. His army is holding for the moment, but the sneak through. There's too many troops. Flygo goes in, and the bombards are going to all fall. The best thing he could have done is snipe out the other bombards, so at least there wouldn't be siege weapons there to take you out. But that's the problem. The flood-ins continue, and Flygogo gaining a lot of ground against Grubby. Grubby trying to pick dry these resources we talked about. Remember, you go through them so quickly, and you're going to need all the reserves you can get. You see he's suffering on the gold front right now. He barely has any surplus. Compared to Flygogo, with those 3 relics banked, always having over 1,000 surplus in reserve. And Grubby, despite that, having double the gold income, but it's just all being insta-spent to try and replace what he's lost. What he's lost is quite a lot. The army is going to be spent. A little bit overzealous for Flygogo. I think he went too deep here. Didn't respect the defenses, didn't respect the dangers. And now he's being punished for it. Villagers chase in, these cost-effective villagers. Remember, only 12 food for most of these. And if they get the Royal Cauldron as well, it is going to be a juicy one. And I think they might. Oh, it's going to be close. Villagers come out to repair, though. Not able to snipe it in time. Really big deal to keep that up. Remember, it's a 1,000 resource investment. And they are very slow, so trying to get a new one on the front is painful. Look at this, 0.62 movement speed compared to the bombards at 1.05. Speaking of those bombards. Oh, it's punishing time. He might be able to get the Culverin. Oh, no, it's pulling out of range. Not quite. Remember, this Culverin has more range, so once it gets out, it's very hard for you to actually beat it, as it will snipe you out pretty quickly. With that bonus damage, putting up at 300 per shot on these siege weapons. And Langstack spam now from Grubby. Really smart play, actually. His opponent, he has a few hand cannoneers, but it's mainly just man-at-arms. So that means you're going to be clustered in melee against this. And look at the damage coming out right now. Look how quickly they die. The Langstack is the solution. A few hand cannoneers is really not going to turn this for Flygogo. He loses the main front line again. Last time it was due to greed, and this time it was due to outskilling him. Grubby makes the play that matters. He'll force him back. Bombard sieging through the keep now as well. He chases. Remember these Langstack, they move fast. 1.24, and then you have to equate in the charge speed, which means these hand cannoneers can never back away quick enough. Hand cannoneers, which are now being supported by Langstack of his own from Flygogo, but there's not enough of them. He's still outnumbered. And he still hasn't upgraded them! What? Oh my god! Flygogo, why? This is such a silly error. He hasn't upgraded the Langstack at any point. He had a few in his composition before, and he never bothered to actually juice them up. And these hand cannoneers as well. These hand cannoneers also have not been upgraded. Oh, one moment about that. They didn't get upgraded. I'm an idiot. But look, it's the gold, guys. These ones just look fancier in red. But no, seriously, the Langstack are the big detail. The fact he didn't upgrade them, he's missing out on additional damage. He's losing out in the cleave war, and he just can't match what Grubby's doing. And now he's losing the forward infrastructure. He's losing his base. He's losing so much here. And with the Palace of Swabi on the front, it means any damage to your economy is going to hurt long term. And it really is right now. Flygogo, barely any military. His economy isn't maxed out either. He's missing an extra 20, 30 villages from what he should have. And look at them chase. They're like, oi, where do you think you're going? No anti-siege is not allowed. Straight in onto the bombard. raise it to the ground, and Fly Go-Go will look back at this game and question why the hell he didn't upgrade, because he had surplus gold this entire time. He still has surplus gold, but now he no longer has the buildings to produce units out quick enough to use this gold. And Grubby always being pot capped. Fly Go-Go nowhere near there. The only thing his Go-Go is going home because he's done with this match. I don't see how you get back into this. Lessons should be learned here, folks. Keep up your production rates. Always look to pop cap max. When you talk about a game at this stage, when you talk about Imperial Age scaling and your economy is being boomed, it's just about who can push more units non-stop. It really is. And it's about who's going to burn out, who's going to run out of resources first. That's how most games go. But this one, especially, tech ops matter. The elite Lanksneck compared to the normie Lanksneck really did break the back of Fly Go-Go's defense and break his chances of winning this game. And in fact, he's given up on even producing Lanksneck. Otherwise, I'd show you the difference here. I think it's like 2-3 damage at least. Not to mention the health increase as well, which made them very effective up against the man-at-arms. They weren't getting shredded straight away. And because they survived that much longer, it allows that extra round of cleave to go through. All these man-at-arms basically taking out half their health in the blink of an eye. And with the base now being assaulted and no real military infrastructure to push out of, this should be the end. There it is, guys. 23 damage. Compared to where the Lanksneck at, if I can actually find one. 28 damage, a 5-point difference here. And, well, that 5-point difference will give the points all over to Grubby, as it looks like he is going to claim victory over Fly Go-Go. And what way to do it? Every step of the way looking behind, on tech ups, on relic count, on harassment, but it doesn't matter. Grubby patiently waits. He baits his opponent. He gives him the rope to hang himself, and then he finishes him off with a stab straight through the heart and takes the win on Nagari.